At 7:02, I shall call to order the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Village of Bartlett, counties of Cook, DuPage, and Kane. Please call the roll.
George Koziel,
Here.
Joe Bano,
Here.
Bob Vaccaro,
Here.
Guy Papa,
Here.
Michelle Saros, absent, Charlie DeVoe, and Mike Weirden.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay, you have before you the minutes from the previous meeting. Chair will entertain a motion to approve from November 5th, that is.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Bob, is there a second?
Second, George.
Second by George. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Joe Bano,
Yes.
Bob Vaccaro,
Yes.
Guy Papa.
Yes.
Now, I think you have to abstain, Guy, right?
I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know if I'm allowed to
so
vote.
abstain.
Yeah, you have to abstain.
Okay.
Okay. You want to change your vote? You're
Yes, I'll abstain.
okay.
Sorry.
George Koziel
Yes.
and Mike Weirden.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, approved. First item on the agenda is case number 20-02, Rana Cold Storage at 1320 through 40 Brewster Creek Boulevard. Are the petitioners present?
Yes, they are allowed to talk. Alex. I don't know who this is. Chad.
Yes, this is Chad with Partners in Design Architects.
How many of you will be speaking?
It would just be myself. Sal is driving at the moment, but he could be reached if needed.
Okay. We'll trust you. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence you're about to give is only the whole truth?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead and state your name and address. That could be the business address for the record.
my name is Chad Sylvester with Partners in Design Architects, and it's 2610 Lake Cook Road in Riverwoods, Illinois.
Okay, go ahead and present your case.
Well, first I'm going to show the, we have the proof of the mailing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The proof of the mailings, the newspaper, and the picture of the sign.
Correct. So we have those all set.
Very good. Mark those exhibits A, B, and C. See, I have that down on my cheat sheet. And to give you a clue, I do it alphabetically. M, mailings, N, newspaper, P, picture of sign. That's how I remember it. That's neither here nor there. Okay, go ahead, Christy.
Or Chad, well, I'll let you go over this and then add anything if I'll add anything if you miss anything.
Okay. Rana would like to construct some angled docks between the building and Brewster Creek Boulevard. And due to the existing site, it is a corner lot and the building is rectangular with docks on two sides. And Rana is taking the east portion of the building, which presents some challenges operationally, where that they need to receive product in the raw form, and then they ship out finished goods as well. So according to USD regulations, those elements have to be on separate sides or separate parts of the building. And because the docks are on two sides, there is really no practical way inside the building to have product come in, turn 90 degrees through all the coolers and required square footage, and then exit the building on the east. So what we have done is create some angle docks on the south and a small access drive so that trucks are pulling in, backing into the dock and pulling out on Brewster Creek without obstructing any vehicular traffic.
And I'm sorry, you said the USDA was the one that required this?
Yes, USDA regulations.
Okay.
They require that finish and raw goods be separated.
That makes sense. Okay.
So in a nutshell, that's essentially what we are requesting, and the landscaping and the other elements of the project will comply with the building code and the zoning code, and there really is no detrimental effect to the project because it's really self-contained. It's away from other tenants, and we feel it's consistent with some other operations within the business park.
Okay. Anything else, Christie?
No, I think he covered it pretty well.
So pretty much landscaping things will pretty much be left in place.
They're adding a lot of landscaping to help screen the loading dock. So they're putting in some evergreen trees in these locations. There's some evergreen shrubs. They're adding a lot more than what's out there currently.
Okay, I like that.
Nice.
So if we go back, if you look at what's there now, there isn't much.
Right.
It's
Well, I
George.
mean, already two things I like in your favor. You're adding more, and it's the USDA. So, I mean, you're kind of between a rock and a hard spot. We say no, and you're driven to go somewhere else or not expand, right? I mean, that's what it boils down to.
That is correct. We are very limited in this location, and it would necessitate looking at other operations and potentially moving to other locations.
I believe you have probably grown faster than was anticipated at the time you came here, as I recall.
The business.
Any other comments from any members on the board?
It's George. I've got a question. If these 4 loading docks are outbound, where is the inbound goods?
The inbound is on the north side of the building. Along the cursor.
Okay.
George, you probably don't see the site plan.
Yeah, it wasn't really apparent.
Do you have access to that?
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, what is graphically shown there is just the concrete apron, but the actual trucks are not graphically shown. But they
Outside,
do come
facing
in
Oh, okay.
north.
Brewster Creek Boulevard.
And then the curiosity question, the left portion of that building, what's the usage of that going to be?
That I am not entirely sure what the current usage is. But I know go ahead.
Access warehouse is located within the western portion.
Oh, so it is currently being used.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Now the whole thing makes a lot more sense. I'm fine with this.
Yeah, this is Bob. It's always nice when a Bartlett business is very successful, needs to expand. And I'm all for helping them. I mean, this is a minor variance in my mind, and always happy to try to help the business.
And I appreciate the landscapes that they're putting in place there. That's excellent, in my opinion.
This is Charlie. Somehow I'm listed as Commissioner Sarwis. But,
See that?
I joined a little late.
That's okay. I've got you down joining, so we've got you.
Okay, I was confused. And I like what
we
they're
know you're
doing. I
not
drove
Michelle.
around there, and it's very nice.
Mike still with us?
Do we lose Mike?
Mike, you're muted.
It's George. Can you hear me?
Yes, but Mike is muted. He needs to
Mike
unmute.
somehow got
something happened on mine. It just suddenly went back to
Yeah,
your
mine
meeting.
did too. I lost connection for a moment. It said I'm using up too much CPU.
And mine says meeting should start in a few seconds.
Yes.
Welcome to
when I came
Zoom.
back on. Okay, so at this point, we have to officially open it up for a public hearing, but there's no one in the public, right?
If anyone that's an attendee would like to speak, please raise your hand. Via Zoom. No one's raising their hand.
Okay. Any further discussion or motions?
Yeah, I make a motion to move this forward to the board with a positive vote.
Okay, it's been moved by Joe. Any second?
Second by
I'll
George.
second it.
Second by George. Any further discussion?
No.
Again, I like what I see. Please call the roll. Oh, wait, but we have to close the public hearing portion. Now call the roll.
Okay, Bob Bucaro,
Yes.
Guy Papa,
Yes.
Charlie DeVoe,
Yes.
George Koziel,
Yes.
Joe Bano,
Yes.
and Mike Werden.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, motion carries. Good luck. Stay in touch with Christie to find out when it appears on the village board.
Great, thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda, case number 20-17, Brewster Creek Business Park, Lot 2A. Are the petitioners present?
Yes, they are. I have to allow everyone to talk.
How
Hi, this is
many are there?
Brian Quigley from Counter Commercial. Can you hear
Is
me?
Brian the only one that will be speaking?
You know, I've got Brian Rieger from V3 Civil Engineering Group also on the call, and he can speak too.
Okay, we need to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the evidence you're about to give is only the whole truth?
I do.
Okay, for the record, please state your name and addresses. The addresses may be the business address, and then we can go on.
Sure, I'll go first. This is Brian Quigley. I'm with Counter Commercial. My business address is 9500 West Bryn Mawr in Rosemont.
Yeah, and this is Brian Rieger from V3 Companies. The address is 7325 Janes Avenue with an N as in Nancy in Woodridge, Illinois, 60517. And I'm mostly going to be here for questions after Brian gives the presentation.
Okay, go ahead and present the case, whoever's going to talk.
First, we're going to do our exhibits.
I'm sorry. Do we, yes. Do we have the mailings, the evidence of the mailings, the newspaper article, and the sign? Good.
Yes, we do.
Mark those exhibits A, B, and C. See, this is throwing me off on Zoom. Now go ahead and present the case.
Okay, so again, this is Brian Quigley, Counter Commercial. Counter Commercial is proposing to develop a 435,000 square foot warehouse building. It's going to be for bulk product in and bulk product out. So it's not it's not for food use, at least not, it's speculative. We don't have a user in mind for the building. And so what we propose a warehouse where bulk product is going to be stored, come in on one side of the project, the north side, let's say, and then exit the south side. So we've got a truck court on the north side, truck court on the south side, parking on the east and car parking on the east and car parking on the west. We've got a lot of trailer parks throughout. And so Counter's the contract purchaser. We don't own this lot. And so what we're proposing to do, if we get these variances, is start construction maybe next month. We're going to close in December, start construction next month on this building. So there's a speculative warehouse. It's very similar to the building to the south, which is the McKesson building. And so again, design is for bulk storage. Trucks are going to deliver pallets in on one side and ship smaller quantities out on the other side. The variance that we're going for is two of them. One is for car parking. We're proposing 423 car parks versus a code requirement of 463 car parks. So we're going to put in 90% of what's required. We think, based on our experience, and I can point to a couple of other buildings that we've built in the area and a couple in Brewster Creek, we think the car parking requirement is going to be 200 on the low side to 300 on the high side. So we're going to have 423 car parks going in day one. We think that's more than plenty. Talking about other buildings, we just finished a building very similar to this in Elgin. That building is at 2601 Galvin Drive. It's a 385,000 square foot cross-dock building, very similar, built at speculative, just like this one, and we leased it to Box Partners. We put in 300 car parks, and they're using about 90. If we put this same building next to that one in Elgin, then our current parking car, 423 cars currently as shown, would exceed the requirement in Elgin. And so, just thinking about another couple of examples, the McKesson building at 375 Spritzer across Jack Court, that's got 272 car stalls and it's 400,000 square feet. So they're at about 50% of code. And 1323 Brewster Creek, that's the animal supply building. It's a 421,000 square foot building, similar design, and it's got 227 car parks. And that's about 50% of code. So we got a couple examples here in Brewster Creek where 50% of code has been provided in terms of car parks without much of an issue, and we're providing 90% day one.
If I may ask, I'm guessing that your parking projections were probably made even before the COVID problem?
That's true. You're right. So, the way we break it down is, how many typically parks do we need for warehouse workers, and then how many do we need for office? We don't know what's going to go in the building or how much office is going to be there, but typically these are 5% office. And so, if we're building a 423,000 footer, we'll probably have, let's call it 25,000 feet of office, something like that. And so, 5 parks per 1,000 square feet of office. So probably 125 for the office workers, and then another 100 or so for the warehouse workers. There's going to be about 80 aisles here, 80 racked aisles in the building, and each aisle can support maybe 2 workers. So, probably 1 worker. So, 80 to 160. So if you had to, let's say take it heavy, 160 warehouse workers, 120 office workers, 280, approaching 300 on the heaviest side. So that's kind of how we come to our numbers. What we're building here is a Class A institutional quality building. We want maximum flexibility. So in my opinion, 420 cars, that's pretty heavily parked. We should be able to capture 90% of the user market out there who's shopping for something like this with this design. So the idea is to capture as many tenants. We're going into it without a tenant, and so we want this to be Class A, first of all, institutional quality, where an insurance company or someone like that is going to own it ultimately, but we want to be able to lease it. We haven't leased it yet, so it's got to be very flexible in terms of its design and functionality.
I'm trying to get my bearings. Christy, perhaps you can help me. I know the fire station is to the north, right?
Yeah.
And how much room is there left? Would there be one more industrial building or none?
There's a lot that could be built on back here with access to Jack Court. This is a wetland.
Right.
And then there is still a piece of property here that obviously would not.
One. That's what I'm thinking about. That would be considerably smaller.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm intrigued to see this get off the ground, because for years it just looked like wasteland out there, because after the gravel pits were done, there wasn't a whole lot more to be done until somebody took the initiative.
Well, one of the problems it's got is it's in Cook County. And so, yes. Bartlett did give us the 6B. And so it's kind of a risk, the Cook County taxes, who knows what they're going to be, but we're hoping for the best.
I admire you for being willing to venture out into Cook County for that tax reason.
Thank you.
Are you still going to maintain?
George, I have a question.
12?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Are you still going to, this Charlie, are you still going to maintain, 12 handicap spots?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, George, I spoke over you.
We lose sound? Hello?
Charlie's here.
I can hear you, Mike.
Okay.
Well, while we're waiting for George,
Christie, are
this
you
is
there?
Bob.
Christie, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
here.
here. George is shown as
I
being
think we had a
on.
weird internet thing.
It seems to be freezing periodically.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, regarding the parking, I mean, I don't have any real big issues with that based on, you know, the information that was provided. It seems like a lot of trailer parking, but if it's a warehouse, I suppose it's best to have that parking rather than cars. But just maybe a point of clarification, I'm not sure, you cited two buildings in Brewster Creek with reduced automobile parking. And there's a chance that one or both of them may have had land bank green space as part of the agreement. Christie, would you know that?
I do. In both of those cases, they have that were cited for 1315 Brewster Creek Boulevard and 375 Spitzer. They have land banked all the parking that would be required. So to bring them up to 100% in meet code could be provided, and there are land bank agreements for that. We do have several lots that did receive variations that did not do land bank agreements. So 1570 Hecht provided 50 spaces. They were required to have 71. That one they did land bank 20. They didn't land bank any. 1350 Munger provided 200, which is 60%. They land banked the remainder of what was required. 1340 Munger was required to have 339. They provided 110. They land banked, they did not land bank any. So we do have some cases where they are short without land banking. Typically when they do have land bank agreements, they meet code.
Okay, again, Bob, just as a follow-up, I mean, I personally like the land bank concept. I think that just in the future, if things change, depending, since it's a spec building, we don't know what's going in, they don't know what's going in. With the land bank, it just ensure that the parking won't be an issue. But I mean, that being said, in this case, a variance of whatever it was, 25,
40, they're 40 spaces short of the requirement.
okay. So like, as he said, 90%, you know, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to clarify the comment about the buildings that were cited and if there were land banks applied there.
I think that's a valid concern. Typically, our parking requirements probably are on the conservative side, aren't they, Christie?
For warehousing, we tend to require more than what some other towns require.
Yes, okay. And who knows what's going to happen, how long this COVID setback is going to be in place. But yeah, land banking is a good idea. But in this case, they're not shy by really that many if they're 90%, as Bob has pointed out.
And just for the record, if I could say that there is no parking permitted on the public streets within the Brewster Creek Business Park.
Okay, good. Any other questions? All right, we shall open it up to the public. Anyone has any comments?
Let me look at the attendees. If anyone would like to add something, please raise your hand. No one has raised their hand via Zoom, so.
Okay. Any further discussion or motions by the board?
This is Bob. I'll make a motion to pass on a positive recommendation for case 20-17 Brewster Creek Business Park Lot 2A for the variances requested. The parking variance and the loading dock variance.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Bob Bucaro. Is there a second?
Charlie, I'll second that.
Charlie seconds the motion. At this point, we shall close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Guy Papa,
Yes.
Charlie DeVoe,
Yes.
George Koziel,
Yes. I'm here. I'm having.
I heard a yes.
okay, Joe Bano,
Yes.
and Bob Bucaro,
Yes.
and Mike Werden.
Yes. Okay, very good. We shall pass on a positive recommend. Pardon me?
My vote's a yes if that comes through.
Yes, yes, we heard it, or I heard it anyway. We shall pass on a positive recommendation to the board. Stay in touch with Christie to find out when it appears on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, old business, new business, anything coming up?
I don't think we have a meeting planned for next month at this time.
And yeah, the deadline isn't until the week of the 14th, but at this point, we don't have anything that's been submitted.
Okay. And there's no holiday party this year. Oh.
Nope.
I'm not gonna see everybody till next year.
And probably a couple months after that, yes.
Yo, after the first and the 32nd snows fly, huh?
Yes, yes.
Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's
Motion
it.
to adjourn. Pardon me?
Did I can't remember, did I mention last month that anniversaries, or that we're gonna, normally at the end of the year, we provide you with a small token of our appreciation. And this year, because we're not getting together in person, we're gonna drop off just some small bags. We'll give you a call or email you the day that we're gonna come out and drop them off. We'll probably just hang them on your front door.
Okay.
But it's just a small thank you to say, we really appreciate what you do. So,
Oh, thank you.
That's very
You're
nice.
welcome. Thank you.
So we
And
should put our mask on if we answer the door?
yes.
Oh, goodness.
Very good. Thank you.
And
Oh,
Charlie, your
happy
beard,
holidays to,
Charlie,
Just saying
your
happy-
beard looks like Santa.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. I worked on it special this year.
Very good. Anything else? Any motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
so
adjourn.
moved.
Then so moved. Second?
Second.
Yeah, all right. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Abstains? No. Okay, thank you everybody for joining.